And thank you so much for joining us. I hope you all had fun in the first workshop. So today we're delighted to have Yeny Pardini, who is our speaker today, to bring us more insights into how to define the design process to achieve your goals. So just a little bit of introduction of Yeny. She is a product design leader with over 10 years of experience with a passion for complex user experiences and small businesses. She is currently the director of product design of Klavio, which is a unified customer platform that gives online brands direct ownership and customer data and interactions. So Yeny, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise with us. So without further ado, Yeny, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm gonna share my screen, so bear with me for a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna assume we can all see the screen. And I'm gonna be talking about design process today, and I'm gonna try not to bore everyone. I know it's not the most exciting topic, but it's a really important topic. And a little bit about me. I am currently the director of Product Design Klaviyo. I've been there for 6 months, so still learning a lot about the company and in general, learning more about e-commerce, marketing, and data platforms. This company is great at giving customers ownership of their data, so they don't need to go and use Amazon or any other like AWS or any big data company. We have a platform that makes it really easy for them to own their data and to learn about their what their customers are doing, their behaviors, and act on them. Prior to Klavio, I was at Constant Contact for almost 2.5 years. Constant Contact is an email marketing company. They have a similar platform to Klavio, but they focus more on email marketing. And before that, I was at Boston College for a little bit more than 5 years, kind of leading the design efforts and software development efforts for an international e-assessment called Tims and Pearls, and that was very interesting. Okay, so moving on. Like I said, I'm going to talk about design process. First of all, like, what is the design process? Then I'm going to spend some time talking about our design process at Klavio. And after that, small case study for everyone to like see how to put that into practice for like a smaller project. And then I'm going to give you some advice about your own process. And I think, I don't know if so, you know, I could just like go through the whole presentation and we can leave questions at the end, or maybe you feel free to like ask me questions during the presentation. All I'm trying to do is to make sure that, yes, it could be boring talking about process, but it is so important. It's like the main thing that we all look into a designer when we're trying to hire them. So keep that in mind. You can have an amazing portfolio. Yes, that's gonna get you to the interview, but your process is gonna get you the job. So bear with me and hopefully you will learn something today. So like Don Norman said, the best kind of design isn't necessarily an object, it's a space or a structure, is a process, dynamic and adaptable. Again, you might feel like you're not designing when you're like, okay, I'm gonna go through this process. Well, design is all of it, not just the final output or outcome, is how you get there. And I'm sure we have all seen at least one of this. You know, there's many different diagrams and many different ways of like tracking your process, and it's really what works for you. So you pick what that flow that really works for you, and you split your project into smaller chunks, so it's easier for you to like see progress and to like really understand the problem and come up with the best solution. So I think, long story short, is try not to jump into the solution. Like define what your process is and go through it, because at the end you're gonna have the best solution if you just go through the different stages. And what I always encourage my teams to follow are these main 6 stages in that process. And I'm gonna quickly go over them, but you're gonna see them again later into like more of like how I've been using them. And the first one is, do research, like understand the problem. Again, don't just jump to a solution. And doing research, like ask questions, listen to, ask questions and listen to the answers, so you can understand the problem or the requirements. Conduct market research to evaluate what is already out there, even if it's not exactly the same, but like what is close enough to what you're trying, that problem that you're trying to solve. And it'll be good to also like create a competitive analysis. So you're like looking at everything that is already there and how people are doing things. Well, create a table with the different companies, the different things that they're, how they are doing that, how they're addressing that problem or a similar one, and compare all of them. And then add like your own column for how you would like to, your solution to have those things or new things. So it'll be good, like after you do just the market research, create like a report or a table where it's really clear what you learn from the market research. Then define the persona if the company already doesn't have that persona. If it's like a project that you're doing for your portfolio, make sure that you are defining the persona and you have it there. And if you can, conduct interviews with people that match that persona. So then number 2, of course, define. So create flows. Start thinking about possible scenarios and user journeys and develop these flows. And if this is a redesign, which it could be in a lot of cases, a redesign of an existing feature or experience, make sure that you do an other flow. And an other flow is, even if it sounds like, oh my gosh, really, do I need to do this? This product is huge. I mean, I just did one and it was like 100 screens and the flows between all of them. And it was so helpful because I was able to find the gaps and the opportunities that we had that we have missed otherwise if I didn't have done the audit flow. So make sure you do that if you're redesigning something. And then of course, discuss the flows with the stakeholders and make decisions based on that. So number 3 is IDA, sketch, wireframe. So now that you have flows, now that you're thinking about what that path is going to be for your solution, start sketching up ideas and invite the PM or the engineers, both, and your peers to like a brainstorming session, so you can start like gathering ideas from other people, people who know maybe the customer, people who know more about the problem. So get all of them in a room and do a brainstorming session, or in a remote room with FigJam or Whimsical. And then based on that, create wireframes. So you can then start visualizing what that or those solutions are, or at least your ideas. And number 4, decide. So at that point, with the wireframes, again, get the PM in the project, the lead engineer, and maybe if there's another designer or the strategist, get them in a room. And okay, this I have these wireframes, I'm gonna start working, these are my initial mocks. Now you start putting UI into the solution. And of course, validate with user testing. Now you're gonna be putting the prototypes in front of real users or customers, and gonna be asking them for feedback, because these are the people who ideally will be using this solution. And make sure there's no bias, make sure that you're not like walking them through a particular path. This is really important. Based on your findings, go back and update your designs. And the last one is development. So after you're done the user testing and updated your designs, make sure that you're packaging your mockups and annotating anything and everything that you think the engineer would need, interactions, you know, again, the flow. So at this point, you could have like a flow with every single screen and telling them, okay, if they click over here and there's an error, they're gonna get this modal, like every single interaction, and states for every button, every card, everything you have, and make sure to be available to answer questions if they have any questions. And you know, they will probably have questions, so it'd be good for you to answer those. Okay, so that's like overall what I recommend everyone to do, like follow those main 6 steps. And I think if you do that, you'll get a really great solution. And if you follow those steps while you're interviewing, it also gonna get you really good results in your interview, because we're gonna be able to see that, okay, you just didn't just jump to the solution, you were thinking this strategically. So it would get you far on the interview process. So now Klavio. When I joined Klavio 6 months ago, I think we were maybe 17 or 20 something. I know that like at the beginning of the year, last year, there were only 17 designers, and now we're 60 was the last number I got last week. But we hope to be like 100, 120 by the end of this year. So we're growing really fast. And something that I noticed was like everyone or every pod had like their own type of process that they were following, but it wasn't consistent. And that is okay when you're a small team. I mean, it's better if you have one process you're following, but it's not critical if you're a small team. But if you're scaling so fast, you need to have a process that everyone is following, or at least a guidance. We're not very strict about anything really. We create guidance for people to follow. And we did like at work, and you're gonna see in a minute the process and design process playbook that is soon to we're gonna release in a Medium. So keep an eye for that. And we also align this process with our design principles. Our principles are a really big part in our culture. We want to make sure that, as you know, I joined Klavio mainly because of the culture of the design team. I love what the company is doing, and I love that the company is growing really fast, and we have a lot of space to innovate and be creative. But really what got me to join was the culture of the team. It's an amazing culture where people just collaborate all the time. There's no egos. We're just there to learn from each other and work together. So we wanted to create a process that was reflecting that, and also the design principles. Because this alignment between the two of them, it's gonna really help us make more consistent decisions, and it's gonna allow the designers to don't have to worry about, oh, what do I need to do next? What do I need to talk? Who do I need to talk to next? It's just like, oh, it's all there in the process. If I just follow that guidance, I have a lot of time to be creative and really like come up with the best solution. So remember this, I just talked about this a minute ago. I follow my same advice, and I use those 6 steps to create the process. So for example, I'm gonna say this really quickly. So for the research part of it, I met with designers, managers, PMs, engineers, everyone that is involved in the project creation flow. And I conducted market research. So how is Wayfair doing this? How is Uber doing this? How is Google doing this? Like I went and started looking at what their design process was, and then define who was going to use this. So ideally it's a cross-functional process, but it's mainly tailored for designers, right? So then the next one, number 2, I created a diagram that you're going to see in a minute, and facilitated a brainstorming section with the first draft of the diagram, to ask for other people's opinion, people especially who've been there longer, like what is the process you've been using until this point, then people who just joined, like from your last company, what was the process you were using, what was good about it. So gathered all that and created this diagram. And then on the ideate, based on the previous feedback, I updated the diagram, started creating the documentation that we're gonna post to Medium. And then again, facilitate another workshop with now 12 designers to like really dig deeper and add comments and update the diagram based on that. On number 4, I was pretty close with the diagram, so I met with our VP of design to get kind of like a final okay, and updated a few things based on meeting with him. And on validate, I released it to all the to all the managers, and I said, okay, so now we have this, we've all been involved in this process for the process. I think it's time for each of you to like bring it up to your teams and start like talking about it and ask them to use it. So right now we're on development release stage, where the designers are looking through it, are using it, find it, you know, if we get feedback, we go back and modify it, we keep adapting it as needed. Is flexible, and is really useful for new people, right? We're gonna have probably like 60 more people join. So for onboarding, it's gonna be a really important piece. Okay, so this is kind of like what it looks like. This is the diagram. I know it's really hard to read. For some reason, I couldn't get very resolution for this, but it's basically, we have these 3 areas, right? Product design, engineering, and we want to make sure that the designers know if they need to talk to a PM, they know exactly where to do that. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but like right at the beginning, they need to create the specification, the specs doc for requirements, for like, why are we doing this and what are the jobs to be done here. So that's very clear here. Then later on, that gets updated and is there. So it's really clear who, if it's in this area, they need to talk to a PM about it. If we think that, you know, they need to be on a design review or a studio, which are different type of design reviews. And if it's on the pink area, we'll invite the PM to that, or even like prepare the presentation with them. If it's down here, consult engineering. And this is probably like the main area that was a little bit different. A lot of designers were consulting engineering later on, and that was creating, you know, if you wait until a lot later and you don't talk to the engineers about the constraints, or you know, do we need to use a third party, things like that, and you wait, it might be too late at that point. So you might be right here. If you do that right here, it's early enough that any constraints or anything, you know, at the very beginning. So you don't have to spend, let's say that I created like 12 different screens of this amazing thing that I think will solve the problem. And then you wait and wait, you talk to the engineers like, well, that's awesome, but we can't really do that. So you wasted all that time. So by having this early in the process, it was more impactful. So like I say, it's a long diagram because it's meant to be a guide. These are all the meetings and recommendations and people that you're supposed to be talking to along these different steps. You know, we also have like, if we do have a design system at the moment and a design system team, and part of the process is like when to talk to the design system, right? If you think you're gonna need a new component or a new pattern for your solution, they need to get involved. If there's nothing new, you're using everything that is on the library, then you can keep going and do your thing. But if there's gonna be anything new, like even a modification to a component, they need to get involved and we need to go through their process as well. So all that is very, very clear in this diagram. And right now I'm going to talk a little bit deeper for like each of these 6 steps that are part of this diagram. So kind of like to give you, again, I think I'm gonna share this with all of you later. So look at this when you are adding a new project to a portfolio, right? Make sure that you've done the most you can through this list for all the 6 stages. Because if we can see on the portfolio that this was your problem and you did all these things onto your solution, believe me, the solution is not going to be like the main thing we're going to look at. We're going to be so impressed with how you follow through a process that it's really all you need. So then for research, I touched about this a little bit early on. So ask questions, make sure you really understand what you're trying to solve. Like, don't jump into a solution. That is the main takeaway. And collaborate with other people to understand user behaviors, define your jobs to be done. This is really important. If you even have it like state on your portfolio, okay, this was the problem, this is the jobs to be done. That is something that we're gonna like. Gather data. So again, do comparative analysis, see what is already out there, and create a table. Like, you don't need to put every single screenshot on your use case. Just like create that table so we can see that you did the comparative analysis. Then work with the research team. So maybe it's not that applicable for creating a portfolio, but if you're in a company, make sure that you're talking to the research team, and they can help you conduct their user interviews or can help you create surveys. So if you're doing this just for your portfolio, you can create a survey really easily and send it to your friends or send it to all the people that you might know to get some data from them. And if you're in a company and you're lucky enough that they have an analytics team, see what they're tracking already to get some quant data from that. That's really important too. So again, after you've done your research, now it's time for you to create flows. Use Whimsical, Figma, or any other tool of your preference. We don't really care. And start creating these flows. Like, it could be multiple ones at this point, because you might have you might think of multiple ways for the customers, the users to like navigate through the solution, or what you think at this point it might be a good like way of navigating through that problem. Could be multiple ones, it could be one. You're going to be testing this, so if that one is not the right one, you're going to see it when you test. Then again, if you're a company, connect with the PMs and engineers. Make sure you're connecting with your peers all the time, and share and ask for feedback. And if you're lucky enough that you have a content strategy team, this is the step where you get them involved. Like, don't wait. They're not just there to give you the content or the copy. They're there to help you think through the path for the solution. So this is where you need to get them involved. And after that, start sketching ideas. It could be paper and pencil, it doesn't matter. And if it's paper and pencil, take a picture, put it in your portfolio. We love to see those too. And again, if you're a private company, share with the PM and the engineers, could have another brainstorming session with them just to get ideas out there, and then review with your peers for feedback. Under idea and sketch, at this point, you have some ideas and you have some flows. So start creating wireframes for those flows. Again, it could be you have multiple paths for possible solutions. Create multiple paths with wireframes. That's fine. That's actually probably really helpful. And then again, share your wires with the engineers, with the PMs, and especially with the engineers at this point, it would be good to get their 2 cents about, hey, is there anything here that you think it would be really hard to do? Or even, is something impossible? Or, I always ask when they say, oh, we cannot do that. I always ask, okay, is that because it's really impossible or because it's difficult? or because we never done it before. Like just ask to see what the reason is behind it. If it's impossible, then try to find a compromise, try to like figure out what you can do. But if it's something that is going to take longer, then you're like, okay, take longer, meaning like it's going to take you 2 sprints to do this, but you know, it's going to help the customers this much more, and it's going to make the business this much more money. Can we like compromise on your time? So again, conversation at this point with the engineers will be really helpful. And after that, start creating your initial mocks. Start, you know, if there is a design system, start using the library to create your mocks, and let your visual skills shine. Meet with the content team. Again, at this point, you are asking for a draft copy for your designs, and ask for feedback for your partners. So then now we're on the validate. So now you're creating prototypes, and with, you know, prototypes that are following these flows and the states and interactions that you think your solution is going to need, or solutions. And ask, you know, is when you have prototypes, now everyone can truly see what you meant, because now it's kind of like it's there. Like depending on how strong your prototype is, you might be able to show like the full solution. And people get really excited with prototypes. I love prototypes. And then also check for accessibility. Keep that in mind. It's really, really important to have accessible solutions. Then with these prototypes, you can run unmoderated user testings or moderated sessions. What that means is like you can use a tool like user testing. If you have a very strong prototype that doesn't need any explanation whatsoever, and you can just put it on usertesting.com, and someone can log in, look at your prototype, use it, you can record the session. There's no one there moderating that, and then you can watch the session afterwards and learn how people use the prototype and see if they were following the path that you thought they were going to follow or a different path. However, if your prototype is not as strong at this point, which is also absolutely fine, you might want to do moderated usability sessions, where if they try to click on a place and you don't have that screen yet, you can ask, okay, I see you're trying to click there or tap there, depending on, you know, if your solution is mobile. What were you expecting to see? Instead of like, oh, that doesn't work, sorry, click somewhere else. No, what were you expecting to see? Like, how can, you know, is there anything in particular that you were hoping for, and those kind of questions? And if they're like, well, I thought if I click there, I will go to point B, and you actually have point B in a different, you know, in a different click through, you're like, oh, yes, we have that here, but then now you have the feedback that that's not what they were expecting. They were expecting in this whole area. So that's always good to know. And make sure that you, if you're in a company, make sure that you invite your PMs and engineers to these sessions, because they can learn a lot from this too. And like I said earlier, avoid guiding the participants to a particular path, because you're not really going to learn their behaviors if you're guiding them through what you are expecting to see, right? And with all that feedback in mind, now create your final mocks, and you can design, this is, okay, this is what, if I had 2 solutions, so I really like, my personal preference is to test 2 different solutions, and see which one tested better. And then that one, that would be the final solution. Final, nothing's really final, but that would be the solution I will pick, and I will add to that solution whatever I learned from it or from the other one that maybe didn't perform as well, but there were other things there that I didn't have in this one and actually performed better. So with that in mind, I create the final mocks. I discuss it, you should discuss the updates with the PM and the engineers. And again, now you really need the final messaging for the solution. So make sure you talk again to the content strategist for this. And development. So here you have to create annotated mockups, and I already talked about this at the beginning. So the more guidance you can give the engineers, the better. Clarify the functionality, the interactions of the solution, add analytics tagging. So work if there's analytics team, work with them and be like, okay, what kind of variables do I need to add? Like, how do you want to receive this information, and add those variables to your mockups. So then when this goes live, they can track everything that the customers are going to do, users, and you can measure the success of the solution. Or, if they're trying to click on something multiple times and there's nothing there, where you're tracking that, and then you try to figure out, you can have interviews and try to figure out what they're expecting there. Like, I've seen this before, where there's an image, and this is an example, there's a big image, like a hero image, and people are clicking on it, and of course we didn't have anything linked to the hero image. It was not like a carousel, it was not a link to anywhere. So we looked at that, we saw in the heat map that there was a lot of clicks happening there. So we added a link to something that was relevant to that image. And then we added more power to that hero space. So we added now multiple images rotating with like links to those sales, like things like that. But that we only noticed by looking at the heat map afterwards. And then for development, keep track of the solutions, development process, and again, be available to answer any questions, and participate in the Q&A process. Make sure that when they say, okay, development is done, now let's all look at it and find bugs and be there, participate in that process. Okay, this is how the Klavio design process is supposed to work. And like I said, is more like a guidance than anything else, to help new people, to help junior designers, to help anyone to really focus on the ideation and the innovation part, creativity part of their process, because everything else is displayed there. So if they don't have to figure out, oh, when do I need to talk to my lead designer, when do I need to talk to the engineers, they just go there and quickly they find an answer to those questions. So then they really have more time to think through the problem. Should we stop for questions at this point, or should I continue? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a continue. This case study, what I did was I took the daily UI, the first one that they send, and if you're not doing daily UI, I highly recommend to do it. But I seen most of the time that I seen people, and they add the daily UI to a portfolio and they write the problem, and then right after that is bam, the mockup. Don't do that. So first thing, and this is the only thing I'm gonna cover here, is what would your process be to answer this one or any other? Just maybe draft your process first, and that's how you're gonna come up with that solution. And that's what I would expect to be and see in a portfolio, that you write the problem, and I don't see right after that the mockup. I see some information about how you gather the data. Like, I want to see some, again, table with your comparative analysis. I want to see your persona, like who are you solving this for? I want to see some documentation of what your findings were. I want to see the flow that you're thinking, even for this one that is a very simple sign up page or modal or app screen. You know, how are they going to get there? When am I going to surface this? Even if the flow is 3 steps or 4, it doesn't matter. I want to see that. Then how, when you start sketching your ideas, put that there as well. Define your success. Like, what does that look like? Well, you know, what are my metrics? I'm gonna measure how many people click on this, how many people, if it's for a sale, like how many people actually go and go to the website and look at the sales or send stuff to their cards. I'm gonna track all of that, and that's gonna measure my success. Then create your wireframes. Again, we want to see all of this. If this is for a portfolio and you can't really do the evaluation part of it, just say how you would do it. I would send a survey and I would ask these questions, or I would interview customers and I would ask these questions. Again, you don't need to do it, but you just need to tell us what your process would be if you could do it. And the initial mocks, and feel free to create a prototype. You know, a prototype doesn't have to be a coded thing. It could be a prototype in Figma. Just have it there as well. Again, evaluate with usability testing. If you cannot do it because it's only for a portfolio, just tell us how you would do it. I would use usertesting.com and I will put my prototype out there, and I will ask people these questions on the prototype, and I will gather some feedback, and I will go back and update my designs based on the feedback. And then the final mocks. So based on everything that how I would proceed with this and all the feedback that I've gone along the way, this is my final solution. This is the mock. So, you know, now it's not just the problem statement and the mocks. Now you have this very thought through portfolio page with all these steps. Now we know how you think. Now we know that yes, you're ready to be part of our company, because you just don't jump to a solution, you do your homework. And if you want, you can say, and this is how I would do a handoff. I would annotate my mockups this way before giving it to engineers. Okay, and then I'm just gonna leave you with this. Make sure to think about your process and be able to speak to it, because again, when we interview, we really want to learn about how you think. We want to learn about how you arrive to a solution. So you need to say, first of all, you need to think about what your process is, write it down, and make sure you can speak to it during your interview. And you can, we can see that also in your portfolio, like how you, all the steps that you follow to arrive to that solution is very, very important. And again, we're gonna say this one last time, great portfolio is gonna get you an interview. Great process during that interview is gonna get you the job. And that's it. Questions?
Anyone who has questions, please feel free to drop in the chat. So we have one question. Yeny, do you have a favorite design project you've worked on?
I have many. I think the most recent one, and that's the one I mentioned briefly, that I recently did an audit for. We're trying to figure out if we're missing anything for our SMS solution, and getting into the customer's head and trying to figure out, are we giving them everything that they need? Is our solution so easy to use that they don't even have to think about it? Like, they just like get it done and send an SMS as quickly as they can. Are we doing that? So I spent basically a weekend creating this audit of the current solution, and it was like a hobby. That's why I did it over the weekend, not because I had to do it, but because I really enjoyed doing that. And now doing that audit, it helped me not only understand the SMS solutions that we have today, the gaps, the opportunities, but also understand where my team is working on, you know, who is doing what in that entire flow. And are we using their skills the right way? Are we, you know, are they happy with what they're doing? Like I've been here only for 6 months at Klavio, right? So that project that I decided to do as a fun thing, it really opened my eyes to many things. So I would say like that's probably so far at Klavio my favorite project.
We have another question that is, how do you go about getting the correct users to test your site?
Yes, so when you work on a company, you hope most likely they have a research team, right? So right now at Klavio, we have a really strong research team. At Constant Contact, we also had that. They work with the product analytics team to figure out who these customers are and reach out to them. And then we get them to, hey, we noticed that you're struggling in these areas, or that you never log into the product, that you sign up and you're paying them the membership, but you don't really use it. Can we jump in a call and dig deeper? Or if we're testing a new feature, hey, we notice, again, looking at the data, we notice that you are using a similar feature and we're about to release this or a new one. Would you be interested in testing it out and giving us feedback? That's kind of how we do it. When you're on your own, and you're doing this for your portfolio, I would suggest like talk to your friends, see, again, create your persona and then see which of your friends might fit that profile, or if they have friends that might fit that profile. When I was at BC, I kept getting constantly these emails that were sent to like the whole staff. Oh, I'm working on my dissertation about this, and I would really like to interview anyone who, who do these 4 things. Could you reach out to me for, and then people that could do those things will probably reach out to the person. It's like, okay, yeah, I do that. I can talk to you if you want. So doing that could work. Or reaching out to friends or see if friends of friends could help you. Because I know when you're not part of a company and you don't have the resources, you have to do it on your own.
All right. So another question is, what are some creative and innovative solutions you've seen to address accessibility issues?
Yes. So here at Klavio, and Klavio is an awesome company. So keep that in mind when you're deciding where to interview and where to go to. So here at Klavio, we have a strong design system team. And one of the main things they do is to look for accessibility and make sure that our design system library has the right colors and has the right font sizes and contrast. And so then designers don't really have to worry about that as much because they're using the library. However, we do have trainings. And when I was at Constant Contact, for example, we had monthly trainings and we had accessibility guild and things like that help us like learn more about it and figure out what was the new trend, like how people were solving these problems, things that maybe a year ago nobody knew that it was a problem. Just by keeping up on the trends, they're like, oh gosh, yes, of course that's a problem. We also use a plugin. What's the name of the plugin? I can't remember the name of the plugin, but it's a plugin that you can add to Chrome, you can add to Sketch, you can add to Figma, and it has a drop down, and you can pick, okay, I want to measure for this particular case to see if my designs pass the test. And then there's like 12 different categories that you can measure for. Is there enough contrast? It's gonna tell you right away, and if not, then you change it. Again, when you have a strong design system that is already doing all of these things, and you're using the library for your solutions, you're gonna pass, right? Because all the components are ready for this. But when you don't have a design system, I recommend that you use this plugin that I can't remember the name, but just look at it like accessibility plugin for Sketch and Figma and Chrome, and that one is gonna come up. Any other questions? Okay, so then if that's it, I'm gonna say this one last time. Awesome portfolio, yes, definitely. You're gonna get a call back. If you cannot speak to your process, you might not get the job. So make sure that as an exercise, every single thing you add to your portfolio, follow the process. And the more you follow the process while you're creating your own portfolio pages, or the easier it will be for you to speak through it when you're interviewing. Very, very important that you can speak through your process when you're interviewing. Okay.
Thank you, Yeny, for your presentation and your great insights into the design process. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. And we have our next job that's going to come. It's called Customer Dramas and How to Really Know what they're going through. So please feel free to join that one too. Thank you.